Well, what do you know, guys? The boomers were right about crypto. No, I'm not talking about Warren Buffett and his opinions on crypto, because that is besides the point. Warren Buffett isn't actually strictly a boomer. What I am talking about is the age-old debate of growth versus dividend, capital gains versus cash flow. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about how you can use this retire on crypto mentality in order to guide your crypto investment strategy. If you stick around throughout this video, we will be discussing the exact way that you can stand the most feasible chance of retiring on crypto, retiring on DeFi. Let's jump right into today's video. First of all, we need to clear up one thing. Why did I decide to talk about retiring on crypto? Well, first of all, it made a good video title. And second of all, more importantly, is the fact that we can make use of this retirement goal mentality to change the way we look at our crypto investments, shifting from a speculative mindset where we're either chasing quick gains in terms of price or short-term yields to looking at long-term sustainable cash flow. Today, we're going to be talking about this concept called real yield, and we're going to be discussing this in more depth. First of all, let's have a background about what this whole real yield discussion in crypto has come about with. In case you're brand new to this channel, earlier on in DeFi summer, we have had this kind of thing. Yield farms and DeFi programs that were paying out 261% APR. Of course, that was being paid out in the native token. But anyway, what we need to know is that in the wake of the bear market, these yields have come under scrutiny because a lot of them just tend to decline over time. The reason for this is because of a massive decline in the native token price. That is, of course, in part due to the tokenomic design of this thing, which is to print tokens in order to reward the liquidity providers. However, the real yield narrative has now emerged, which brings about questions. What is real yield really? And in this case, I have two proposed definitions for real yield. The first is real cash flow. This is the idea that a decentralized app makes money on its own as a viable business and pays that revenue to its various participants. So the yield or the income that you're getting is coming from actual day-to-day operations of the app instead of inflationary tokens being printed out of thin air. So the first example that we're going to be looking at is none other than the OG GMX. This has been vaunted as one of the real yield pioneers, and the reason for that is because of this GLP thing. Currently, the APR that you're getting is pretty low. However, you can bet that this will increase based on the trading volumes because this is derived from protocol fees. Things like fees from traders getting liquidated because they're leveraged, or things like regular trading fees. Similarly, the DeFi primitives that we've looked at previously do not necessarily have completely fake yield. Why is this the case? Well, look at this lending protocol, for instance. There are both real yield and fake yield aspects to this. So as we all know, in a lending protocol, you can deposit your coins and earn some interest for lending them out. The lending interest is real yield because that is paid by the borrowers. However, this 1.25% extra yield that you see over here is from, as the site mentions, inflationary tokenomics. So that is not real yield in the strictest sense of the word. Those are just tokens being printed out of thin air. Now that you've understood this, you also understand why when we're liquidity providing to DEXs, we are actually getting yield in two parts. The trading fees are real yield, whereas the additional APR from inflationary tokens that we dump onto the market is not. And the problem with crypto before this was that the large majority of yield in some of these projects came from those tokens rather than real yield. Let's have a look at another example, Beefy Finance. This is the Radiant ETH Vault. And as you see, they're paying out APYs of 52%. But if we go down here and look at the breakdown, we see this. The Vault APR is 32%, whereas the trading APR is 10%. So the Vault APR in this case is not the real yield portion, that is from additional tokens. On the other hand, the trading APR is real yield since it comes from the revenue of the protocol derived from traders paying that 0.2 or 0.3% trading fee. So hopefully that makes the real cash flow interpretation of real yield more clear to you all. The second way to find real yield is to take your definition of real yield being nominal APR minus the inflation rate of the token that you are farming with. So let's have a look at this with a worked example. Let's say you are farming on Trader Joe, and let's say you have decided that the Joe token, the native token, somehow has potential in the future. I'm not here to debate whether or not it does, but let's say you choose to go into it. How can you achieve this definition of real yield? Well, CoinGecko has very usefully put together a tokenomics page, as you can see over here, and you can see the distribution schedule. So as we see now, we are at January of 2023, and the token supply is expected to be approximately 500 million by the same time in 2024. That means we can now calculate our effective annual inflation rate. So looking at this, we have about 329 million in supply right now, 500 million at the end of 1 year. So what is the inflation rate? We can go over to Google and make this calculation. Just take the new tokens that will be minted, divide them by the current supply of tokens, and find that your tokenomic inflation is somewhere around 52%. So that means that if you want to yield farm with Joe for whatever reason, you'll need to make sure that the farm is paying above 52% APR in order for the real yield, or yield in real inflation adjusted terms, to be positive, assuming that the market cap of the Joe token is to remain about the same. So all in all, real yield has been a really big narrative after the whole collapse of Terra Luna, as well as a number of DeFi protocols. It is also what I think is the most feasible way of retiring on crypto or DeFi, because retiring requires you to have a look at cash flow rather than just drawing down on your capital over time and possibly ending up with a shortfall. So now you know all about the basics of real yield, one of the biggest crypto narratives in 2023. But even though you're now able to go out there and find real yield, you still need to figure out which tokens are likely to perform best in the longer run. And to do that, check out this video over here where we talk about the top narratives facing crypto and the places where most value is likely to be generated. All in all, I hope this video has been informative and useful. If you liked it, do leave a like down below and consider subscribing to this channel. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.